Fortunately, right now, the multifamily market is staying strong. We're still in the 94% occupancy range. There's probably been a 3 to 4% drop off in payments. Even though the units are occupied, there's a small number of people who haven't been able to sustain making their payments on time. Part of that is financial, part of it may be intentional because the governor said that they can sit back for 90 days without being evicted. So it's a little bit of a hardship. The problem with that is if they do accumulate a large amount of debt obligation to the properties, it's going to create an issue that there's going to be a lot of people having to go to court. There's going to be people getting wages garnished and evictions enforced. I think that's the only negative part of it. Otherwise, the market seems to be staying extremely strong. Where we're finding problems is in the lender marketplace. The lenders are putting restrictions on loans for financing of apartment communities. They're asking that a buyer come in and put away 1 full year's of principal, interest, taxes, insurance, and capital replacement reserves, which adds about 5% to the cost of a property, which means buyers are wanting to renegotiate their prices downward to accommodate the yield reduction they're going to get from their returns on the investment. The bigger problem we're having right now, although we're doing a lot of BOVs, broker opinions of values, we're doing them at current market value. And when I say current market value, without consideration for the COVID virus, we're treating them as if they were back in January. The thing that's changed a little bit is the influences that we just talked about in debt and in the uncertainty of what's going to go on in the next 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months. That's causing hesitancy on both buyers and sellers' parts. Sellers are afraid that if they sell it right now, they're going to take less money than they probably be entitled to. And buyers are looking at it as it may be a risk to them and their investors if they buy it and don't make some kind of consideration for what could happen if the market changes downward. The biggest example would be college student housing. We're working on a college student housing project at Michigan State right now. Is Michigan State going to go back to school this fall? Is it going to be online or in person? What's that going to do to the number of people that go back and live in student housing? Are they going to be doing their studies from home online? Or are they actually going to be physically showing up on campus and taking advantage of the fact they've got a lease already in place with an apartment community next to campus, but may not ever show up? So there's some uncertainties that are in the marketplace. The other thing that's happening to the properties is it's tougher on residents because things they thought they were paying for, which is a fitness center, pools aren't going to open on Memorial Day at the properties. There's a lot of other facilities that aren't going to be available, services that aren't available. Even though the properties are taking advantage of the time to do certain deferred maintenance items that they couldn't have done before, it doesn't open up an avenue for the residents to take advantage of the things they thought they were paying for. So there's just differences. But the apartment business is like we are right now. A lot of it is online. The technologies have changed, so you can do your virtual tours. You can fill out your applications. You can do your credit reports. Just about everything you need to do between the resident and the management staffs can be done virtually. Technology has given us some big advantages to do that. Not being able to meet face-to-face with clients. And that is a big part of our business. I mean, relationships. And it's okay to do it the way we're doing it. But Scott and I put a lot of miles on our cars going to Detroit, Chicago, Lansing, Kalamazoo, and most of the Michigan marketplace. And that's something we're not able to do. And that's the thing that builds that closeness and client relationship and loyalty. And so that's broken down a little bit because it's not quite as good as the Zoom market. But if we can pick that back up, that's a big part of our business. And we've got people that are sitting back right now. They just aren't capable of making decisions. And the reason being is that they just don't know if this is a good time to sell or a good time to buy. We have the people that are waiting for the market to crash a little bit so they can take advantage of distressed asset purchases. And that's happened before, back in 2006 to 2008 when the market downturn happened. Scott and I started our business with our clients being bankers and lenders because they were taking the properties back, and we had the vultures sitting on the sidelines waiting to gobble them up. And that's there's some of those sitting out there right now. So we're gonna hope that this fixes itself relatively soon. I don't see a huge impact in the multifamily market because people always need housing. In fact, the positive impact, and it's unfortunate, is a lot of people are using their savings to survive right now. Those are people who would have typically used their savings to go buy a home and don't have that same capability today. So what's going to happen is they'll probably be in apartment communities longer than they expected, which is good for the apartment industry, not so much for the housing industry, and not so much for the people who wanted to move into homes because the need was there. Zoom's been a very popular subject lately. I've learned how to actually use that technology, and most of our clients aren't local. We're talking to people in Florida, we're talking to people in Colorado, we're talking to people in California, New York. The deal we're putting together right now, I've never met these guys, but we're doing it with a group out of Cleveland, and have no idea who they are other than the fact we've talked to them on Zoom. So it's an effective tool. It's really kind of fun.